Guys, I swear, if I wanted to prepare for this interview and I wanted to pick up the words, I would have never found the right words to present the amazing, the absolutely fabulous, the charming, the very smart, the very helpful, the very kind, and the very generous Robyn Storey. I can't tell you how much this interview means to me. Robyn Storey, to put it in short, has changed thousands of lives, has helped thousands of people get their dream jobs through improving their resume, and much, much more. Today, I'm so proud to have maybe the best interviewee I've had so far, the wonderful Robyn Storey. Robyn, welcome to the show.
You are so kind. Thank you very much for that lovely, lovely introduction. I'm thrilled to be here with you today, Mark.
Thank you very much. It really means a lot to me. Robyn, would you kindly please tell us a little bit about your journey, your personal journey, yourself, your life partner, kids, whatever you want to share?
Sure, sure. I am married 30 some years. I have two children, Alexa, who runs the day-to-day operations of Storyline Resumes, and my son, Jack, who is 25. Now, Lexi, we call her Lexi. She lives in New Jersey, and my son and his girlfriend just moved there. So I grew up here in Western Pennsylvania, and I've got two kids now that live in New Jersey. So my husband and I are spending a lot of time lately driving back and forth, which we're enjoying. They live at the beach and they're loving it. And I own a company called Storyline Resumes that I've dedicated the past 25 years of my life to building and empowering women and families. We've got a team of 70 here. Everybody works from home. And it's been a mission of mine to help our staff and our customers create the most meaningful lives for themselves that they can and the best work home life balance that they can. So it's been quite an adventure. I tell everyone I'm accidentally successful. I never started out to be an entrepreneur. I worked a regular job just like most people in this world and found there was a niche market out there and decided to jump in with both feet. And really, I started out because I just wanted to get my kids on and off the school bus. I wanted to be home instead of going to work in an office every day. So really here at Storyline for the past 25 years, we sort of pioneered the whole work from home culture. Everyone on my team works from home. So I think that's been my greatest joy and my greatest happiness that we've been able to build something that has helped to enrich the lives of both our staff and our employees.
Gosh, this is absolutely amazing. What was the name of your husband?
My husband's name is Chris.
Chris.
He's a corporate controller, and I tell this funny story. It's actually a chapter in my book. I wrote a book last year, which I was flattered that anyone cared to read anything that I had to write. And there's a chapter called Accidentally Successful. And I tell the story of how when our daughter was little, I was packing her up at 3, 4 in the morning to take her to my mom's, in the dead of a Pennsylvania winter, so I could get to work on time. I had a long commute. And after a couple of years of that, I said, hey, I want to stay home. I don't want to miss her childhood. I don't want to miss this part of our lives. And my husband, ever the gamer, said, I'll make you a deal. If you can get a job to cover the groceries for, every week, I can float us for a year. And I agreed. So I quit a corporate job and I became a waitress. So I worked on building my business during the day. And then at night when he came home, he watched Alexa and then later Jack. And I went and waited tables. And, now, of course, I pay for all the groceries. But, having a partner in life that is willing to take a chance on you and, support your dreams, I think is really the best that you can the gift that you can give to your partner in a marriage or a relationship. We took a chance and it paid off. I mean, it's a lot of hard work to build a business, but I've enjoyed every last minute of it.
Absolutely. If you allow me, I want to just send him a message. Chris, my heartfelt congratulations.
Thank you. You're so kind.
Okay, great. Robyn, before we talk about the 1 million followers on LinkedIn, please allow me to ask you, you've redefined the art of resume writing, and you have allowed thousands of people to unlock new career opportunities. Tell me how you've done this.
Yeah, it all really started with a philosophy of being genuine, of leaving your humility at the door on your resume. And we created really an entire culture about how to tell someone's story that resonates with someone else. And that's not by using sort of language or resume speak, right? It's by being genuine about what you bring to the party. So the example that I always use is accounting, because my husband's a corporate controller, and I know accounting. But if you're an accountant on your resume, you don't need to tell me that you balance the general ledger, or you reconcile the end of the month bank statements. We already know what an accountant does. From a hiring perspective, I want to know what makes you the best accountant, what makes you the best member of this team. Did you find a way to make money? Did you find a way to save money? What sort of processes or tools did you put in place that made your business better? People are very, even in this day and age, kind of either uninformed, or they're writing their resumes in the way they always wrote them. And that doesn't work in a market like ours right now. It's a really tough job market. So the more effusive you can be, the more genuine you can be about what sort of impact you make on the companies that you work for, the more likely people are to want you to come and work for them. And that's sort of our secret sauce, right? It's not just this description of your history. Nobody cares. What they want to know is what makes you special. And every single person, even when we get people on the phone that say, I don't have any accomplishments, I don't have any metrics, I don't have any impact, we say that's absolutely not true. Every single one of us has some impact in some way, and we help you dig and find that. And that's how we build your resume.
Absolutely amazing insights. I promise you, this is exactly what I live every day when I help with HR function at our company. All the time, I have people who want to tell me a story, which is not at all what we're looking for. And they want to write it in their CV, and then they want to tell us this in the interview. And I stand there and I say, politely, please answer the question. Because exactly as you say, they think that actually by telling us what they have prepared, which is, yeah, I manage the general ledger, I did this with the accounts receivable, I did that with the accounts payable. Actually, they're convincing us, but that's not at all what we're looking for. I 100% think what you said.
Yeah, it's really something. Once we get folks talking, we always joke here. Sometimes we get criers. So after we send someone their resume draft, they'll call us or they'll email us and say, I'm in tears. I am not feeling very confident about my life or my job or my career. Maybe they've gone through some layoffs, or maybe they've had some tough times, or maybe they are feeling undervalued. And when they see it laid out on paper, that can be a very emotional response, because we're not walking around every day thinking about how great we are on a professional level. But that's exactly what your resume should do for you. And once people see that, especially if they've lost their mojo or they're lacking confidence or they've had some tough times, that can be a really enlightening and empowering thing. As crazy as that sounds for a resume, it absolutely can. So we'll get folks that are saying, I'm crying, or I'm in tears, or that's something that we've become used to here over the years.
Absolutely, absolutely. Robynn, I know that through your strategies, you've helped a lot of professionals land jobs going anywhere from 75K to 300K plus.
Right.
Name, please, your top 3 strategies that you think are really key for every person who is listening to this, watching this, and who is looking for a job.
The most important thing is you have to know your own value and be able to communicate, again, the impact, the accomplishments, the successes, right? So you have to own those. There's nothing wrong with that. I grew up in a generation where, our mothers taught us not to talk about ourselves that way, right? Your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your interviewing, this is not the time to be humble. Own your accomplishments and own your successes. Number 2, know how to conduct a job search. We see so many people failing in their job search because they're doing the same old tired things, right? They're going to the job boards. Right now, the job boards are overrun. They don't have a network, they haven't built a network. They don't know how to network. That would be the second thing. And then the third thing is be informed, be precise, be focused in your job search and your resume. So often we'll get a client that says, I'm a Jack or Jane of all trades. I can do all kinds of different things. I need someone to take a look at this and sort of figure out where I belong. We do not exist in a society, in a hiring environment where that happens anymore. Right now, the job market is extremely tough, and it has been for the last couple of years. Recruiters are on overload. No one is going to take the time to figure out where you fit. So having a strategic focus on the kind of job that you're after is honestly half the damn battle in a job search. If you know where you're going and you can communicate why it is that you have the skills to get there, that's what's effective.
That's absolutely amazing. I would love for my son Valentin to be listening to this. I hope he is listening to
I
this
hope he
now.
is.
Thank you. He's in Hamburg, and actually, he would be interested in this. I hope he is listening. Thank you very much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Robin, one of the biggest challenges that I have seen for somebody looking for a job is what happened in the wake of COVID-19, where you had people actually losing their job and finding themselves actually not able to return to their previous industries.
Right.
So not only they lost their job, not only they are looking for something in a new industry because that was the opportunity for them, but on top of that, it's really a difficult market out there. They found themselves competing with really very, very powerful profiles. What would you say, especially to those people who are trying to change industry in the wake of COVID-19 and maybe who are still to this day?
Yeah, so we don't write resumes here by industry for the most part. We write resumes by function. So if you're in sales, you can sell anything, whether or not that is, fuselages or widgets or pharmaceuticals. The function of sales is comprised of a couple of things, right? The ability to build a relationship, the ability to show the value out of the product that you're selling, and the ability to close a deal. That exists everywhere in every kind of sales role, whether they call that account management or strategic account management or key account management or sales or whatever. So don't build your resume based on your industry. If you're applying in a particular industry, the industry experience that you have already speaks for itself. You can create a resume that speaks to you and your ability to be in sales. The same thing, accounting, purchasing, whatever. The second thing is that you've got to really be thinking outside of the normal course of applications. So a lot of people right now are sitting online, they're applying for 5, 6, 8, 900 jobs, they're not getting any interviews, but they're really kind of barking up the wrong tree. I don't really like to say, hey, stay off the job boards, but I want to say be very, very careful about job posts that you see. There's a lot of fake jobs out there. A lot of companies have sort of admitted to padding their job openings to make them look a little more successful for their stakeholders, their shareholders, whatever. So that's a little bit of an issue. The second thing is, with so much competition on the market, if you're not getting an application in, say, within 48 to 72 hours of that job being posted, they probably already have hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of applicants. So you have to be like the early bird gets the worm kind of approach here. And it's the same with LinkedIn. Go to the jobs page on LinkedIn. I think they have a great jobs page. I think they've done a really great job of moderating it, making sure that those jobs are live and active. But the other thing is that a lot of people don't do it. They don't go to company websites. So say, for instance, I were looking for a position and I were in healthcare. The first thing I would do is Google, what are the top 100 healthcare organizations in this country? And then I would systematically get on every 100 of those websites, go to their jobs pages and set up alerts for positions of interest. As an alert comes through, this new position of VP of Operations of Healthcare Operations is available, you're going to be one of the first people to go in and apply because you've been alerted to it. So you have to be really proactive. You don't want to be doing the same things over and over and over. Every day people get online and they go to a jobs board and they, one of the many popular ones, and they're searching the same thing. You have to put the internet to work for you. So do the whole thing with the alerts, get on those company web pages, and then get on LinkedIn and build your network. For our young clients, I say, excuse me, I have a cold, so I apologize for coughing or snarfling today. For our young clients, I say, listen, go build a LinkedIn profile, connect with all of your friends, and then connect with all of your friends' parents, because they're the ones that are in the positions of influence, right? And it's the same with every individual. Get on LinkedIn, connect with those former peers. LinkedIn does a great job of suggesting who you should be connected to. And then don't be shy. Don't message people and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you help me? Message people and say, hey, I see that such and such company is hiring and you're connected to Joe Schmo there. Can you make an introduction for me? Make it easy for people to say yes to you. People do not want to conduct your job search. They don't want to be involved in alerting you. They don't want to have that sort of ownership in it, but almost everyone will take 10 seconds and make an introduction. So whatever you're asking people to do, make it easy for them to do, and they will do it.
That's absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that. Indeed, I can 100% second what you're saying. When we use LinkedIn mostly for advertising any roles in the company, and exactly as you said, hours after we publish a role, we already have like way more candidates than we wanted to handle actually. And here's something really, really frustrates me. Robin, please share your experience on all of those people who apply to jobs where they are a total mismatch and they lie in their answers. Like, for example, we sometimes advertise jobs saying we're looking for somebody who can be an accountant in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. And we insist and make it clear that we do not accept experience with any other software. It's really about Business Central. And I promise you, still the majority of people who apply, they have no experience with Business Central whatsoever, but they still apply, which is a pain for me and for colleagues working in HR, because it's just like wasted opportunities. Now
Yeah.
we have to post a new role and we have to pay for it again and we have to go through all of the new profiles.
So
How do
here's
you
what I
do that?
recommend for that. It's something that we do in our company, and it's something because I do some consulting for other companies about how to improve their hiring practices and all that good stuff. So I'm a big believer in the vetting question approach. When you are, say you posted your job description and you're looking to invite candidates. So you're going to ask them, do you have experience with Microsoft Dynamics? Yes or no? And they have to say yes or no. Then your second follow-up question is going to be, how many years of experience do you have with Microsoft Dynamics? 1 to 3, 5 or whatever. It's hard for people to lie twice. It's easy for people to lie once, but it's hard for them to lie twice. And that's how you vet candidates. I did a job post a couple of months ago for a sales representative and specifically said you must be based in the US because we work on East Coast time. You have to be in the US. You have to have X amount of years of experience in selling resumes or coaching services or whatever. And I got an application in from an aviation mechanic from another country. And I even said, hey, when you're going through these vetting questions, you can't lie, right? So I knew that this person wasn't, of course, going to be a candidate for us, but it knocked them out of the this is a good fit part for me, because 90% of the people that are applying are desperately applying. It's the spray and pray approach is what they call it in recruiting. People feel very desperate to get a job, right? They're feeling very desperate because the market is so hard. So they're applying to anything and everything. But on the hiring side, if you can create a list of really 10 strong vetting questions that ensures that the only applicants that are making through are the ones that meet your minimum qualifications, your interview processes are going to be a lot easier.
Thank you very much. This is definitely something I will try.
It's
Definitely.
more work. That's why people don't really want to do it. They're just like, I'm going to put this out there and then we'll run the resume through ATS. But people can, finagle that. They can get through that ATS by adding in keyword. There's ways around everything, right? And with AI, a lot of people are using AI to kind of create, they're taking job descriptions and they're trying to plug that information into their resume in a way that makes no sense, no rhyme or reason to it, right? But it's hard to get through those vetting questions, and you have to answer, appropriately to all 10 before you're getting to a human. So, I think that the vetting approach is probably the strongest thing that we can do for both the applicant. It doesn't give anybody false hope, like, oh, they're still reviewing me, they're going to give me a call. And also for the recruiters, because recruiters are overwhelmed right now. A lot of recruiters lost their jobs last year. They're handling more requisitions with less people. So the easier you can make it to vet before you start scheduling conversations, the better off everybody is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can second that in every single possible way. This is something that we see in our company, in our interviews, and indeed talking to candidates. And I thank you very much for sharing the advice about vetting. We will definitely try that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Tell me, please, big hype about personal branding, and that personal branding is everything. And I can tell you, for example, personally on LinkedIn, with my current 28K followers, a lot of friends and colleagues actually advise me saying, do not focus on promoting the company's page, but promote actually your own profile, because that's where people will hook. That's where people will come. That's how you will discover people and how they will discover you. Do you agree with that?
100% I agree with it. I am very sort of suspicious of companies that want their employees to use their own personal pages to promote the company, right? I mean, there's a little bit of that because if you're say an account manager for a wine and spirits company, you're going to obviously say nice things about the wine and spirits company in your LinkedIn profile. but that really should be promoting you and your abilities, as well as making you look like a desirable partner if I'm in the business of purchasing wine and spirits, right? So you want to use it to promote what you do in your job. You don't want to use it to promote your company. And I'm not a tit for tat kind of girl. And I think that loyalty between companies and employees has really changed over the last decade. I think that, companies definitely aren't loyal to people, and you can see it with how, mass numbers of folks get laid off by email. And, you can also see it on the employee side where, employees are sort of stolen away from a longtime employer for, a little bit more money or whatever. And I get it. There's a dynamic there between employees and companies that have changed quite a bit over the past few years. But ultimately, when you are on LinkedIn and you have a following, you have a page, you want to do that. You want to have that page for a couple of things. Number one, you might be looking for a job. Number two, you might be looking for a new business. You want to build relationships because businesses really are all about relationships. So when companies ask you to promote their page, that feels like sort of a cheap kind of out for me. Companies can pay to have a corporate page. They can certainly do their own promotions and advertising on LinkedIn. I don't think that you need to have your staff do that for you. There has to be a line between what is yours and what is mine. And, there's a hard line in the sand for me as far as that is concerned. LinkedIn really should be your personal place where you can engage with recruiters if you're looking for a job, where you can engage with new customers if you're looking for new customers. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. It feels kind of icky to me that companies ask people to do that.
Yes, yes, yes. Robyn, it seems that a lot of people actually have some difficulty to return back to the office and to work from the office full time as they did during COVID-19.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people who think that it is their right to be able to work from home and that they don't have to go to the office?
Yeah, I mean, if it's your right to work from home, you're going to have to find a company that also believes it's your right to work from home, right? I'm a huge proponent of work from home. I think that especially working parents were able to achieve a balance, even in the craziness of the pandemic and the homeschooling of the kids. I think that that working parents were especially able to achieve a balance more during the pandemic than ever before, and people are very reluctant to give it up. And then you've got an entire generation of people with social anxiety. You've got neurodivergent folks that do much better when they're working from home than they're in an office. So there's a lot of people that really benefited and thrived from a work from home arrangement. That if I'm a company and I want you here, it is completely my prerogative to say, I want you in an office. We believe that collaboration is a key to our success. It could be, hey, I'm paying for a lot of real estate. I want to see butts and seats. It's perfectly within their right to demand that you come back to the office. If you are a person who doesn't want to do that, then you're either going to have to find a job where you can work from home or come to some sort of an arrangement. Now, a lot of companies are meeting their people in the middle. They're having hybrid arrangements where, they're working from home a couple of days a week. They're working in the office 3 days a week. And that's great too. But we are seeing a much bigger shift of companies that are saying, come back to the office full
Yes.
time. Then we are companies saying we're going to go remote full time. So a couple of years ago, a lot of companies said, hey, this was great for us. We're saving money. Our employees are happier. We don't really need to be in an office looking at each other. And they said, we're going to work from home all the time, forever, till the end of time. Great. But a lot of companies are saying, yeah, that's not for us anymore. And they want to get back to this sense of normalcy. And ultimately, you can't blame an employer. It's their right to do it. If you want to work from home, find a company that lets you work from home.
Absolutely. Robyn, in your experience, how do you see, from what you hear from your business partners, how do you see working remotely affecting teamwork?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to be objective about that because I have 70 staff. We all work from home. We have the greatest time. We're on Slack together all day. We're all very friendly. We laugh. We share pictures of our kids. We, talk about work. We're messaging each other. And I think that we're about as productive as a team as productive as a team can be. So I do believe that especially more mature workers can be extremely productive working from home. I do have hesitation around encouraging younger staff, especially people right out of college, especially people that are growing in their careers. I do believe they need to be in an office. I do also believe that companies need to be tapping into the wisdom of their older workers to kind of coach and mentor the people that are coming up through the ranks. And you've got to be together for that. It's hard to coach and mentor someone who is struggling over the phone, right, or over Slack. So I think that, it just depends on what the situation is. But, I'm a big fan of, productivity and finding what works for you. And, it's somewhere along the way, you're going to have to be in an office. Even I have to go to a meeting every now and again outside of the office. But yeah, for younger workers, I would say especially, go to work in an office. You're going to learn how to navigate the political landscape. You're going to learn how to navigate office politics. You're going to get to see, really successful and knowledgeable people in action. And that's all just going to contribute to your career.
Absolutely amazing. Robynn, tell me, what would you advise companies who complain about the fact that on-site, in person, they basically have a view of what the colleagues are doing by having the supervisor or the manager around and making sure that people are indeed doing what they are supposed to be doing, but that they lose actually this level of control when people are working remotely?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an age-old question, right? You're going to hire people, you're going to manage them in a way that they're either going to want to work hard for you or they're going to dial it in, right? So when you're non-supportive, when you let bullying, when you let toxicity, when you let micromanaging into your organization, you're not going to have people that are going to bust their ass for you. You're just not. So you can manage in a way that's effective, that makes people feel like they're valued and appreciated. And you can do that in a way that allows them to work from home. It's a win-win for everybody, right? So everything ultimately always comes down to culture. You've got to hire people that you trust. You've got to trust that they're doing the right thing. And you've got to have some basic controls in place to make sure that is happening. But even if folks are working from home and you're micromanaging or not micromanaging, you can see whether or not they're being effective by either A, the quality of work, or B, is the work getting done. I don't need to check in with, I'll give you an example. So we have a lot of moms on our staff. And
Yeah.
for a while there in the morning, like between 8 and 9, there were a lot of Slack messages that were flying around saying, hey, I'm leaving for 15 minutes to take the kid to the bus stop. Or, they're messaging from their phones. Hey, the bus is running late. Finally, I said, ladies, guys, stop it. I don't care. If the bus is late, the bus is late. When you get back to work, you do your job. I know that you are leaving to put your kid on the bus. That's why you work here, because we care about putting our kids on the bus, right? Or we care about making sure we're having dinner with our families. That's our culture. So please stop informing me. You're making me feel gross about it. I don't care. I know you're taking the kid to the bus. Stop checking it. And everybody just sort of laughed about it. But that for me said a lot about how it is that we lead here, what it is that we expect. Now, when I say on a weekend where I ran into an issue, or maybe I'm having an email that needs to be addressed, I can message anybody on this staff and say, hey, apologies, can you take 5 minutes and answer this for me? This customer is in distress, or they really need this document or whatever. And everybody's like, sure. When you treat people in a way where you're empathetic to them, you're understanding of them, you're kind to them, they're going to be kind to you in return. That's just how life works. So if I were yelling or bitching or complaining, or you've been at the bus stop for 9 minutes and you said it was going to be 5, nobody's answering my request, right? So it's a give and take. You have to treat people the way you want to be treated. It's very simple, but companies make it extremely, extremely hard. I'm a very big fan of the idea that culture is free. Culture comes from how you treat people, not by what you give them, not by having Friday pizza parties, not by having Starbucks in your break room. It's really by how you treat them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Robynn, what would you say today to candidates who use, exactly as you alluded earlier, who use AI to improve their CV? And very often, actually, in my experience, very often they do this really, they do a very, very bad job at this. And then they present this very often actually claiming skills that they don't have, claiming competencies that they cannot prove.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with AI, right? So AI doesn't know you. It's not going to take the time to get to know you as a human. To AI, you are a compilation of keywords, right? So I think that AI was thought to be a real boon for job seekers when AI first came out because we can customize resumes very quickly. We can customize cover letters very quickly. Well, it turns out companies don't want that. They don't want all resumes to look and sound the same, right? So now they very quickly have come up with AI detectors in their vetting processes, in their ATS, and in their hiring processes, and those resumes are getting kicked out of contention. So it is so much more important to be genuine in the story that you're telling and how it resonates than just a bunch of keywords on a resume, because that doesn't set you apart from anyone. And right now, the most important thing for job seekers to be is unique and special and have value. And you're not getting that through AI. You can create a quick cover letter. That's never going to get you a job. So it is much more important for you to be telling a genuine story than for you to be hitting a certain number of keywords.
Absolutely. Robin, when I discuss with people that I know are looking for a job, one of the things that I definitely recommend to them is that I say, you know what? No one can help you better improve your resume than a professional, somebody who has done this for years, year over year, and who has seen thousands of similar resumes and who knows exactly how to help you customize this for your own purpose. And I, of course, hear sometimes some people, they believe in this and they go immediately and they invest. And frankly, money becomes for them something very secondary. But some other people, and I find it really surprising. For example, when we, our company, suggest to them to improve their LinkedIn profile, they go like, yeah, but it's a bit expensive and I don't have the means. And I'm really surprised, like, you're not willing to invest in yourself. What
Yeah,
did you do?
that's a big problem. I mean, people aren't willing to invest in themselves. I mean, I get messages from job seekers all day, every day. Hey, I can't afford services. I'm really struggling. I've been out of work for 10 months or whatever. And and I'm always happy to give, a kind word. I give a little bit of advice. I'll do a quick review of the resume. But I think, everybody really should be investing in this before they need it, because layoffs are aplenty. You never know when you're going to lose your job. And a job search is lasting a long time here in the US, sometimes 5 months, sometimes 6 months. We've got, I hear from people that have been out of work for a year. So invest in yourself. You should always have an updated resume. Even if you're not looking for a job, you really should have a resume and a LinkedIn profile that serves you and will continue to serve you in the future, because you just do not know. I mean, people have been really blindsided by the amount of layoffs, the fervor in which they've happened, and the number of people that have been let go. So definitely have something prepared all the time. And there's lots of resume services out there. We're sort of middle of the road. Our lowest package is $589. Our highest package is $989. I know there's resume services out there that charge $2,000 and $3,000. That has never been us. We've got some of the best writers in the country on board here, and our process is such where we really take the time to get to know you. So, for say a $500 or $600 or even a $700 investment, you're going to get an interviewer who understands you, understands your industry, knows how to get you to talk about yourself, a US based writer that understands your industry, knows how to tell the story about you, and they're going to update everything, your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your cover letter. We run a pretty intensive process here. It takes about 2 weeks. So there's a lot of work in building a package. So when you think about the kind of results that people get, we've got clients that were making 75 and 3 months later they're getting offers for 130,000. I mean, that's a huge life-changing amount of money for investing $700 in a resume package, right? I mean, that's a bigger house, that's a nicer car, that's money in savings. So if you are investing, don't think about it as an upfront investment, five, six, $700. Think about it, what that results in terms of increase in salary, increase in title, moving from a manager to a VP role. That's enormous. That is definitely worth it. You have to think about it in those terms.
Absolutely. In your experience, where do you see LinkedIn today? How important is it for somebody who's looking for a job or for somebody who's advertising a job?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I'm fond of saying, as a job seeker, if you're not on LinkedIn, you don't exist. Something like 94% of US recruiters use LinkedIn as their first go to find candidates. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile or you've got nothing on your LinkedIn profile, I messaged someone yesterday who had something like cat lover and like something funny in her title. And I go, listen, I love it. I'm a cat lover too. That doesn't belong on your title. You want to make the most of this LinkedIn real estate, and it should be about what job you have or what you do. You know, accomplished salesperson with 15 years experience should be the thing that I should see in your title, versus, you know, all of these sort of kitschy kind of things. Because it's a quick in and out on LinkedIn. I can scroll and see hundreds of people in a very short period of time. So you want to be making the biggest impact, and that's where recruiters are looking.
Absolutely. We did recently research and we were absolutely surprised and amazed. We studied actually the alumni of a very, very top school here in Europe. And we were really surprised to find that up to 50% of those alumni had no summary on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
No summary on LinkedIn. Like this is largely unoptimized. And I'm surprised. What makes people not look after their profiles on LinkedIn and leave them in such a terrible situation?
Well, I think that a lot of people are happy in their jobs. They're not being proactive in preparing for a job search, and they're sort of ignoring it, right? It's another thing that you have to do. And as an adult, you know, there's lots of things that we have to do. Just this morning, you know, I needed to
Yeah.
change the cat litter. I needed to take the dog out. I needed to have a cup of coffee. I needed to answer whatever. You know, maybe I'm not thinking, you know, I have kids. I, you know, maybe need to get them on the bus, or I need to pack a lunch. You're not thinking about your LinkedIn profile until you are. But when you finally need it, you're behind the 8 ball. You've spent no time building your network. You've spent no time expanding your connections. You've spent no time putting meaningful information about yourself on your LinkedIn profile. Your resume works for you when you send it out, right? Your resume works for you when you apply to a job. LinkedIn works for you 24/7. So even if you're not looking for a job, someone may be looking for you. So a lot of our customers, especially in the space in terms of like the executive space, they're headhunted quite a bit. They may not be looking for a job, but they might have somebody that reaches out to them. That may result in $100, $200, $300,000 bump for them in their next opportunity. And that in and of itself is a perfect reason to be on LinkedIn and have a great profile all the time.
Absolutely. Do you hear from your partners that actually very often when they are looking at a company, they go and see the profiles of the people working for this company on LinkedIn?
Absolutely, yes.
So you would agree that actually somehow those are kind of ambassadors for their own company, and
Yeah,
the
I mean,
energy they reflect.
it's so easy to connect. I used to joke that, you know, when I was a kid growing up, you got a job because your dad knew a guy that had a buddy that worked in such and such. They got you an application and you got hired, right? LinkedIn is like that, but on steroids and on a global level. We all know someone. So I have 1 million followers. I have 30,000 connections. I can get to almost anyone through my network. So if I wanted to, you know, reach out to the head of NASA, I have someone who can make an introduction for me. Or if I wanted to reach someone at the, you know, top levels of Pfizer, I have someone that can make an introduction for me. When there is no price that you can put on having that kind of reach, and we do that on behalf of our clients when they ask us for introductions. So I think it's so important to, you know, send those requests, connect with everybody that you know. If you go to a trade show, if you have customers, you want to be connected with them because they all know somebody. That's how it works. And really, networking has been the thing that has made job searches incredibly successful this year, when the job boards and the traditional application processes have been highly ineffective. So network is, you know, really, it's our mantra here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Robyn, in life, you're an amazingly successful person. And I'm the first one to put out my hand. I want to learn a lot from you. I really want to learn from you. But frankly, I really have this burning question on my lips. I mean, frankly, 1 million followers on LinkedIn. Wow. Wow. I mean, really, I find no words to describe this. How did you do it?
I think that it was just really by accident. I just started sharing stories about our clients and about our business. And, you know, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know I own a resume company, but I rarely talk about resumes, right? I talk about life. I talk about things that are important to all of us, our families and our mental health and our satisfaction and our favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe. I think that when People are on LinkedIn and they're being their true and their genuine selves, which I am all the time unapologetically. That people are drawn to that. And then from there, wonderful conversations and wonderful relationships can happen. So I think that so many people are on social media trying to be someone that they're not. And I am self depreciating. I tell it like it is. Sometimes I swear because I swear in real life. I make fun of myself. And I think all of those things help people feel like they know me. And then they're willing to share a little bit of themselves. And it makes for the most interesting conversations.
Gosh, that's absolutely amazing. What amazing success story. Before I forget, I genuinely want to recommend to everybody who's watching this, if you need help with your resume, I definitely recommend Robynn. Robynn and her team are the best to help you with that.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And they can reach out to me directly through LinkedIn. Our phone number is on my LinkedIn profile. You can call or text us at any time, and we're always happy to help.
That's one of the first things I noticed about you the first time I looked on your profile, saying, gosh, this is somebody who really has optimized her LinkedIn profile, like really to the best of it. Do you know
Thank
how many people I see? And what would you say to those people who, for example, instead of their picture on LinkedIn, instead of a professional picture, they put a picture of their dog or a picture of a flower or something completely silly, like silly empty blue behind them, their background or their banner? What would you say to those?
Yeah, I think that it's something like 90% of those profiles that get less than a handful of views. So I obviously have my picture on LinkedIn. I have a lot of followers. I get about 250 million views a year. Have your picture on. Let people know who you are. If you're not happy with how you look, get over it. We all look different, right? If you want to, put on a suit and tie, you want to put on a dress, you want to, feel good about the image that you're projecting, because that's the first impression of what people see. So as much as I love being in my yoga pants and my pajamas and, whatever, for you today, because it's election day in the US, I put on my sweater and I let my hair dry, put on a little lipstick, make the effort, because it's really about what you're projecting out there. And from a professional perspective, people want to do business with people that care about themselves. They
Yes,
want to hire people that care about themselves and have pride in who they are and what they do. So put that picture out there.
absolutely amazing.
And
What
that's
would
the
you
limit. We're always saying we need to lose a few pounds. I need to cover a couple of grays. I've got some wrinkles or whatever. I say, own it, girl. Just, own who you are. You're beautiful inside and out.
You are beautiful. I definitely confirm that.
You're so
We
sweet. Thank you.
we have a LinkedIn users asking if there is even a point in having a CV now when you mostly have to complete sections of every position and courses and also education. And most positions you can just send a LinkedIn profile link.
Yeah. So I get this question a lot. Here's the difference between your resume and your LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile is public consumption, right? So say you were in operations and you went to work for a company and you walked into a complete and total shit show, right? It was a mess. The people were unproductive. No one was bought in. You had slackers all over the place. The company was losing money. They had processes that were out of date. Their technology was antiquated, whatever. You're never going to put that on your LinkedIn profile. You can't say my current employer was a shit show, right? But you can say that on your resume. I mean, you can't say shit show, but you can say this company had challenges. This is where they were failing. Through my leadership, this is what I was able to do. But on LinkedIn, you can't. So resumes are what I call dirty laundry documents. They're for a captive audience. You can share your turnaround story, but your LinkedIn profile should be what I call the sunshine and rainbows approach. Everything is positive. Everything is happy. You're saying nice things about your employer, saying nice things about yourself. That's the difference between the two of them. So your profile only goes so far, but your resume can really kind of dig deep and give those metrics. You can't share revenue. You can't share market share. There are certain things you can't share on your profile, but you can absolutely share on your resume. That's why you need both of them.
Absolutely. Robynn, where do you see the future of HR, especially when we're talking about the possibility of having more and more AI algorithms coming to help the HR professionals?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of AI for everyday tasks, right? Like, I wish that someone would create an AI tool that would clean my bathroom, right?
Yes.
But when it comes to human interaction and human contact, I think there is no better thing suited to make instinctual decisions about hiring than other humans. And I think the big problem with hiring today is that we have spent so many years upgrading and integrating these technology tools to make our jobs easier that the HR people that are often in place have lost that, what I call internal HR compass, that gut instinct, that ability to make determinations on who's a fit and who isn't, because we become so reliant on technology. So back in the day when I was in HR, and even when I hired for my own business, like I tell this funny story about one of our writers who's been here for 17 years. Our interview lasts for 10 minutes. I just knew that he was a great guy, intelligent, well educated, good writer, sense of himself. He's been here for 17 years. I've interviewed him for 10 minutes. So when you're hiring and you're in that process, I think it's okay to use some tools to kind of get through the vetting piece, maybe eliminating people more than confirming them. But ultimately, when you're hiring humans, I think that needs to be done by human intuition and human knowledge.
Great. Tell me then, Robin, please, how do you see this human intuition and human knowledge and this interaction when we move to the metaverse, where the company actually is a virtual company on the metaverse and you are interviewing the candidate on the metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zoom is fine. I have no problem meeting people over Zoom as long as, even when we're having meetings within our company, I tell everybody, I don't care that you're in your pajamas. I don't care that you didn't do your hair. I know it's early or whatever. I want to see faces. So when we get on a meeting, sometimes we are in our pajamas. Sometimes our hair is up in a ponytail or whatever. If I can see faces, we're good. So Zooming with people, as long as I'm seeing faces, I'm fine with it. Having meaningful conversations over Zoom is just like having a meaningful conversation in person. I'm good with all of that. I don't like when I hear the candidates say they go to an interview process and nobody's on camera. I mean, who wants to do an interview when they're looking at themselves or looking at a blank screen? We have to get back to the point of where we're having human interactions and human engagement, whether it's on Zoom or in person.
Absolutely. I've been to some interviews where candidates come and they are surprised when you tell them, can you please turn your camera on? And they're like, oh, really? Do I have to? I'm like, excuse me, when you go for a real interview in real life, how do you go? Do you hide your face? What do you do? And then I'm really surprised that people are surprised, like, really? Do I have to put my camera on? And I'm like,
Agreed. Yes, everyone should be on camera, and you should be prepared to be on camera for an interview. I would never go into an interview with the expectation that I wouldn't be on camera.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where do you see the future of the HR jobs today in combination with the blockchain and the decentralization of some functionality, and how actually this could help in making sure that we have traceability, better traceability of the whole process of the HR?
Yeah, I mean, so, when are you talking about like a multinational company, a global company?
For example.
Yeah, so I think that processes need to be universal, right? There's always going to be an expectation that you're going to approach things different based on your geographic location and cultures that might exist within that ecosystem, right? But ultimately, culture is culture. How is it that you're treating candidates? From the company perspective, they have to adopt the practice that every person that applies for a job here is going to get some sort of automated response. Every person that we apply, who actually interviews with us, is going to get some sort of personal response. Every person that comes down to the second runner up, they're going to get a phone call. The person that we're offering the job, we're going to do it this way, right? People feel disconnected from companies because they feel invested in hiring processes when companies don't feel invested in them. So I'm not saying that every single person that applies, if you have a job open and you've got 400 applicants, do I think you need to call 400 and say, hey, you didn't get the job? Of course not. You're going to send an automated response based on the criteria. Hey, great to hear from you. It was lovely to look through your information, but based on our vetting questions or whatever, we're not moving you forward in the process. We wish you good fortune in your job search. That leaves me with a certain kind of impression. The 10 or 12 people that you're interviewing, you're going to bring them in. And then after that first round of interviews, 6 of them, you're going to send them an email and say, hey, it was really great meeting you. We're not moving forward with you. We wish you all the best, yada, yada, yada. Then the 6 people that are left, that's where you're going to be picking up phones, where there's going to be communication. it's going to be all how you treat people. And it doesn't matter where you are, what location, what your ethnicity, what your culture, what your background is, or where you're located in this world. That is a universally accepted behavior and practice that we're treating humans like humans. And that's what needs to happen in hiring.
Absolutely. Thank
People
you for
often
sharing.
forget that candidates are also consumers and people talk, right? So if you have a really terrible interview process with a company that is extremely well known, and you get on Instagram and you say, this company treated me like I was something they found on the bottom of their shoe, and it gets a couple million followers, ask companies how that affects their business.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think that, everybody needs to know that we're sort of all being watched and we're all open to both compliments and criticism. And that should really, dictate a lot of how we behave in business.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Robin. The other side of this is that in our experience in this last year, we have had two candidates who were not accepted in the role they applied to. And simply because of this, they went to Google and they evaluated us negatively, saying negative experience simply based on a recruitment decision. What would you say to those?
Yeah, I think that people are angry. I think that people are frustrated. I think that people are entitled. I think that people feel like they deserve something more than they do. I think that you deserve respect in the interview process. You deserve communication. But if you're not a fit for a job, you don't deserve a job if you don't have the skills and experience that I'm looking for. And I think it's a lashing out. I think that in general, the world is pretty angry. You see what's happening in the US. It's an election day here. I mean, people are going crazy, right? I think that, you're never going to diffuse situations like that. You're going to have people that, their first instinct is to say something negative. I tend to be the opposite of a person. If I have an experience with a company that maybe isn't great, I would just say nothing at all. But if I have an experience that's lovely, I'm going to say something about it. I'm going to say something about it on LinkedIn. I'm going to leave them a lovely review. I think it's nice to be nice. And, not all people feel that way. There's really nothing that you can do about it. I mean, well, we have customers through the years. We go through a very specific editing process. And do you love it? Do you love your resume? Does it empower you? Does it feel great? Blah, 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 blah. And they say, yes, 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 it's wonderful. I have a couple of edits, this and that. And then, something happens and a month later, they're pissed about something and they go say something negative. But you can't control that. All I can control is my own behavior, how nice I am with people, how I'm going to care about them, the kind of culture I'm going to build. And some of that other stuff is kind of out of your control.
Absolutely.
And if you ever look at it, so if somebody left you a negative review and you go and click their name, it's 9 times out of 10 that all they've done in their review activity is leave negative reviews. That's who they are.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Robin, in every job, there are secrets, things that only the people of that job know. Would you share one such secret about the HR job with our fans to close, actually, and to come to the conclusion of this wonderful, wonderful podcast?
Yeah, I think that HR has really evolved through the years to be much more a protector of the company than an advocate for their employees. So when you go to HR with a complaint, it's just like I tell my staff, don't come to me with a problem, come to me with a solution. If there's a problem, don't complain. I'm not your complaining board. Come to me with a solution to fix the problem. And it's the same thing with HR. I think that people sometimes feel vulnerable at work. Maybe they're being harassed. Maybe they're being bullied. Maybe they think they're being unfairly paid or whatever. And they go to HR sort of seeking some sort of reassurance, some sort of advocacy, some sort of help, and they're not finding it. Because HR really is a function of the organization. And their job, of course, is employee relations, and they want people to be happy and productive too. But their job really is to protect the company, right? So when you go to HR with a problem, also go to them with a solution. And you're going to be more likely to get HR on board to help you with whatever your issue is than if you go in there complaining and acting entitled to something that maybe you're not entitled to. So that's probably my best advice about HR in general.
Robin, it has been the very best interview I've had in a lifetime. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you a million. It really meant the world to me. If I have one wish, if you allow me, because I honestly still have like at least 10 more questions that I wanted to ask, but we didn't have the time today. Time is up. Would you please do us the honor of coming again to the show?
I would love to. Have me back anytime.
Bless you, Robin. Thank you a million. You have a great, great, great day. And thank you very, very much. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was really great fun. Thank you very much.